There we go.
Yeah, you
That's
can look
mine.
at this one. This spot's mine.
Do
The
you
rest
need
are all
something, Jada? Are you okay?
anybody's.
I'm gonna get the radio.
Oh,
Hi, Kitty. He's QH, I assume.
you want me to hold it?
Yeah. And so Christina, Laura's daughter, had him in Florida for a couple.
when she went.
Yes, he went with her when she went, and Florida was not kind to him.
No, I don't think he prospered in that environment.
His feet kind of fell apart, and he had an allergic reaction to bugs and the heat.
Not every horse can live in Florida.
And he was,
Not every horse
itchy
can
and
live there.
bald, and had to live on Dex and steroids.
No, I'm surprised they didn't founder him.
Yeah, so he is now, normal. So while Christina had him, and there
A
was
lot of
also,
horses can't live in Florida because of the bugs
yes,
and also stuff that lives in the grasses and things like that.
yes, and
It's a hyperallergenic neighborhood.
the hay that was available was not.
Well, and a lot of them can't live on coastal Bermuda either
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
because they impact and can colic on it.
And she, Christina was, not a.
Between jobs and in and out.
Yeah, she was working for a polo guy in Argentina.
And they're a bunch of devils, the polo boys.
Which is fine, but she got off a mare and broke a vertebrae in her back. So then she couldn't really do anything. So
Yeah,
all
I
she
wouldn't-
could do was walk him around for.
I wouldn't bank on a polo guy taking care of me either if I had needs, that's for sure.
Well, so then
They're
the
all halfway
last
vagrants.
year, basically, all she did was play polo with him.
Him? Oh, good.
So, every time you get ready, yeah. So there you
Sounds
go.
like she swallowed the polo bullet.
Yeah.
They want to own you.
I need a stall for a horse and a
Oh.
cart. I'm Michelle.
Okay, nice to meet you. I'm Jada. And there is the big bank barn that's up at the front of the
Yep.
driveway there. If you come in the front door, the very first stall, right when you walk in, that is for you.
Okay, it's on the
It's like on the door facing when you came in the driveway. It's
Yep.
facing to the west. You just walk right in that door and there's 3 stalls there.
Okay.
You can pick a stall if you want a different stall.
And where should I park?
And you can park anywhere, like,
Pick one
you
out
can
of the
find
way.
it, it's dry, anywhere like along the driveway, or, even if you wanna park up there, or, along the driveway here. Just find a place that is reasonably dry.
But you won't
Yeah.
necessarily get stuck.
Yeah,
So what are we doing with this guy?
so what we've been doing is just kinda basic.
You're just trying to get some body,
Stabilize him.
yeah, get some condition back on him and stuff?
Yeah,
You-
been trying to get him to go, actually go back down into the.
Come down to the bridle? Yeah, because he's got his neck upside down. Probably been running around with a martingale holding his head down if he's playing polo.
That's what Laura said, what would you do to this horse? She said, oh, I forgot to send you his martingale.
Yeah, because when they play polo, like the guy I worked for had a lot of money, and he played big time polo. They not only wore a standing martingale, they also wore a cable martingale, which means there was a cable around their nose attached to the girth. So they had 2 martingales
Yeah.
because he was a very, very strong player, but a really too busy active person. And when he would swing the mallet to the right for a hit, he'd jab his left hand in the air. So his ponies all popped every time he swung the mallet. And he didn't like that, so I was supposed to fix it. Well, so I took them all out of their pelhams and put them in snaffles, undid their nosebands so they could open their mouths and complain. And then I put the cable bumper on them because they'd answer it and then not get hit in the mouth.
So is that why they only go on the right lead for polo? Is because of your mouth? That makes sense.
The rider rides with the left hand, the mallet's always in the right hand, and the rider's always leaning to the right to shoot. So most of them tumble right, and most of them travel on the right lead because their rider's sitting to the right.
Well, and Laura Plummer was telling me, she used to work for the guy, the polo guy or whatever, and she said, they just teach them always go on the right lead so they don't have to fumble around. with it.
Well, and they don't teach them much, they get on and ride them.
Well, that's what I mean, but the horses basically.
The horses basically go on the right lead because of the position. It's interesting because there's one fellow up our way that he's a ceiling painter, restores beautiful antique ceilings. which means he does a lot of work in Newport, Rhode Island, which is an endless array of mansions, one of which is I'm trying to think, Vanderbilt mansion. And with the Vanderbilt mansion came a little yellow roof seat brake, which is the smaller of the coaches. And he's allowed to use it, having restored it. So he uses his polo ponies as his coach horses. So we get them to train. And it's very strange training a horse that's used to being ridden with one hand, only turned by leg pressure, and always falling to the right. And then you've got to make it into a coach horse. It takes a little while to get them trained. One we have right now is good. He's ambidextrous. Oh, now he got so balanced.
Which it wasn't his job forever, but it was, that's all he did.
Well, you do it for a while, and they ride a certain way. Like my brother went to school with a whole bunch of boys at Harvard that were on the Harvard polo team, having never ridden in their lives. And
As long as he can hang on.
that's right. They were athletic. My brother was a lovely rider. He didn't take any lessons. They were athletic monkeys. They're tall, leggy guys with wide shoulders and a long swing. Yeah. So when you ask him, he's also the other thing they do is they jog around a lot.
Yeah.
And so they're inclined to jog instead of make a stride. So when you ask for more action from your leg, you have to have the rein ready to say, and don't go trotting, because that's going to be his thought process. Sometimes you can ask with your whip gently behind your leg and they'll move over from it. But he's gotten pretty upside down. Got a lovely coat. He's all dapples. There you go. So is the idea just to get him reschooled or to do something with him?
As far as I know, just to get him I'm not sure what Laura's big plans are with him, so
What are Christina's plans?
I don't think Christina has plans. I think Christina.
My thought when she went to Florida was she didn't have any plan. It's not a workable one.
I think eventually Christina will end up back in Iowa, but she said, well, I want to try to survive without mommy for another
Yeah,
year.
she will try to make it, which is very admirable. Most kids ride the gravy train as long as they can.
But I think it's good that, she realized that it was not doing him any favors.
No, it's better he be home. Usually an unhealthy horse doesn't have such wonderful dapples. There, when the jaw relaxes there, ask for a little more step. I don't recall seeing him work, so I don't know if he ever had more stride.
Yeah.
Polo doesn't lengthen your stride usually.
No, and he wants to do the crawl around his feet.
Yeah.
There you go.
They do a lot of jogging around between runs. They jog out, then they go.
There you go.
Most of the time, when they're out for leg up work, there's a person riding one and ponying six,
Yeah.
and they travel at a jog and a gallop.
Just keep it up.
Yep, and they're just keeping up. And they don't care. They'll go anywhere. They don't need to just go around a racetrack. They go out to the countryside where I live, 7 abreast, and they don't care that they've filled the whole road and may get run over. Come, a little more push. A little more push. There, good boy. So when the neck comes up, he's a little bit saying, I can't, I don't. So you send him anyway, and then he'll come back down. There. Now you begin to get some motion out of the hind leg. And being quarter horse, the jog is always available,
Yes.
but you can remind him not to. Walk, buddy.
Well,
That's
before that, Christina went through a Western pleasure phase.
Which he should have been quite cute for.
Yeah. He would have been pretty good with that, but,
He's
she
act-
also she was working with her a little.
he's actually quite pretty.
Yeah, and once he gets like soft and,
He's
reaching, he's nice.
black and shiny never hurts. And he's attractive. He has enough muscle without looking bulky. Not easy to ride though, eh?
No, he's not.
He got a hump in his back and a bounce because he doesn't have a lot of.
Doesn't have a lot of front end because
No, there's nothing in front of you, and he doesn't go in a way that gives you a cushy ride.
no, and he doesn't. There, I'm not sure. If it's just the way he's built. Is he kind of doesn't want to just. He wants to like a quarter horse.
Yeah, well, part of his problem is he's a little bit butt high, and he has quite a lot of power in his butt. He doesn't have enough shoulder to keep you off his shoulder, and so your saddle gets on the head of his shoulder. And then he said, well, I can't move because she's sitting on me. Well,
And I purposely put the saddle way back.
right, but it doesn't stay there
No,
because
so round.
because he's round, and his little butt shoves the saddle onto his shoulders. Then he goes, well, I can't move because she's sitting on my shoulders. Whereas you're being good and sitting back, but the saddle just does slide forward.
Everybody a little bit wants to go forward.
Yeah. He's built better to carry a Western saddle.
I think there's still more seats over there.
And he has one of those rear ends that looks like it tucks, but it doesn't tuck and push, it just tucks. You can remove a cat if you wish to
Yeah.
sit down. So you have to really work to stay behind him and keep your leg ahead of you. Because he's dying to pivot you over your knee and put you forward. There you go, stay back there and stay light, that's good. Good. And the more you stay back and the more you stay light, the better off you'll get him in the front, because then you're not on his shoulders. When you first came in, I thought, I don't know how she's going to stay off those shoulders. Because he doesn't have a lot of withers sticking up between them. You know, he's got the big shoulder head that the quarter horses tend to have. And then to stay off of it's really hard. But he's being pretty cooperative now. There you go, good boy.
Yeah, he's not being bad or disobedient. He's just like, I don't know.
He says, whose body is this and how do I get to operate it? So a little bit, I don't know how you're going to do this, but a little bit keep your connection with the outside rein. Let it follow him, but kind of really keep it so it's always there. Yeah, and I think he'll stay with it. I think he actually would like, because when they play polo, they don't get any connection. They can do anything with it because they're being, one-armed with one hand, and then the monkey goes to shoot with the other hand, and the left hand pops. And I think if you keep a connection with the outside rein, it will make him happier, and he'll relax. Yeah, close your fingers. So don't try so hard to be soft that you're jiggly. Just kind of take a hold of him and then be elastic in your elbow. Ah, that's a good boy. There you go. Come on, lad.
So is he a polo pony?
He is a quarter horse who belongs to a gal, one of these kids that hasn't really figured the direction of life yet. And her mother is a racehorse person, thoroughbred racehorse person. I'm not sure what her background is. She used to ride here a while ago. And she wanted to do Western pleasure with him, which he'd be very cute at. But, again, they didn't get much of a headset on him. Anyway, she decided that, and I think very well so, that she needed to go away and make her own way in the world. So she took her horse and went to Florida and went to a polo barn and immediately got hurt and couldn't do anything. And then she ended up playing polo on him. And with the polo horse, you would always have a martingale holding his head down because they live in a tight martingale. And they get used to working off the tight martingale, which strengthens the underneck. That's why he's having trouble staying round without his martingale. We could put him back in it, but we're not going to cure anything. No, we don't. The only thing I could conceivably see putting on him would be one of those rubber, the bungee jobbies that goes behind the ears and through the bit and down to the girth. But yeah, the neck stretcher might help, but the other thing is he might learn to lean on it. Because you can get him connected without it, I think it's better, because he's already learned to lean on the martingale. Oh yeah. Make sure you stay forward and your back and your leg stays forward. There you go. So you've got to kind of ride the back of your saddle and stay off his shoulder. And then he can move in front. And then once he can move in front, the back end can move. And then he looks pretty normal. Good. Keep your fingers curled. Any connection you need to make through your elbow, not through your bending wrist. The wrist is not bent. The two parts of your body that can be stiff and straight are your neck and your wrist. They are not flexible. They don't go anywhere. The hand follows by the elbow moving. The hand takes back by the elbow moving. And your neck should just stay back against your collar and not move. Because if your neck moves too much, you get a sore person. Good boy. The rhythm is steady.
Yeah.
The stride's gotten much better. Where's Laura today?
She went home. She was being sick.
God, how sick was she?
She thought maybe she was asking me about my appendix, so.
Oh my.
And I texted her and they said she was on, they put her on IVs. And she was waiting for the test result, so.
Well, if they put her on IVs, she must have been dehydrated.
Yeah, or pain medication.
Or they're keeping her hydrated so they can operate on her.
Right. My guess is they probably knew what it was, but didn't want to say it until after the test, I guess.
When they took me into Mary Greeley years ago, Earl and Mary took me, they said, oh yeah, she's having a heart attack. I said, no, that's not my problem, it's my gallbladder. I know what's what. They said, no, you're having a heart attack. I said, I don't think so. But the only place I was comfortable was standing up, pushing down on the counter with my arms. That made it not hurt. So some guy came in on duty and they said, what's that one? He said, oh, she's having a heart attack. We haven't decided what to do with it yet. He said, nobody that can push down that hard on the counter is having a heart attack. Did you check her gallbladder? Well, that's what she says it is. He said, well, I suggest you get on with that idea.
They didn't even bother to check?
No,
after you said-
no, they knew I was having a heart attack. I don't know, maybe I was 65 at the time, I don't know. Anyway, so this guy sent me off and they checked the gallbladder, it was a wreck. So they immediately called
Get rid of it.
they called the other guy in off the golf course and he took care of it. When I saw him the next morning, he said, how are you? I said, oh, I'm much better today. He said, nobody's much better after surgery. I said, after that pain, I'm much better. He said, well, you should know it was the worst gallbladder I'd ever seen. And he pointed to his gray temples and said, not my first one. And I said, well, why? He said, well, you didn't have any gallstones or anything, but your whole gallbladder was one giant hematoma. He said it had totally broken down. I said, well, I'm glad you got rid of it. He said it was so bad he almost couldn't do it laparoscopically. Because he couldn't get it to stay together enough to get it out. He ended up getting it done, but he said, I thought sure it's going to have to open you up.
Boy, you're glad they didn't have to do that.
I'm glad they didn't. As it was, when I get what puts you to sleep, I always get a fever, so they wouldn't let me go till Friday. They let Mary bring me home on Wednesday, but I wasn't allowed to travel till Friday. I was glad to get rid of that thing.
Yeah.
I said, no, pain's in the wrong place.
Dick went through that. I've not gone
Well,
through
and we have one friend who's had two 10-pound sons. And she said that was a dreadful situation. But she said those things were cat's play compared to gallbladder. He said having two 10-pound babies was nothing compared to that gallbladder. I told him they were amateurs at gallbladder. You're a very cute boy. He's even got a decent shoe job on in front. That's why I like them. They look like the walls are holding the nails fine. It's too bad he's had a bad time because he's awfully cute. I don't think his life's over. How old is he? Oh gosh, he's just a kid.
Yeah.
8 or 9. That's a baby.
He's not lame.
He's 8 or 9 in sound now. That's unusual. Sound is a wonderful thing. I have this great chiropractor, acupuncture, Chinese medicine woman, does my horses at home, and I get my redhead out, and she always wants him lunged. And every time I get him out lunging, she goes, God, I wish all my patients were that sound. I said, sound's not the issue. It's his mind and his neck and back that needs work. Sound he is. He's a war horse.
We had a,
He's 3/4 Morgan. He's old Devon breeding. Should have a lovely temperament, but he's a jerk.
where a chance is predominantly a settlement barn. I walked in one day, the equine acupuncture person,
The vet.
the vet was there, the needles are incredibly long.
Oh, yeah.
And the horse had gone over backwards and its tail was just limp.
Yeah.
So he put something in there and he did a movement. He said, oh, that's not where I want to be. And he put another one in. And then he put one in there and here's the tail like this. And it started.
Yeah, he hit the right spot. So probably when we went over, he numbed a nerve,
Yeah.
and they have to reactivate it. I love what acupuncture does.
Will help me.
Hands are, and we've been working on it, basically.
It looks like,
Need to be hydrated.
yeah, because it looks like it could be a little disorganized.
Figured it out, I've just been working, because he wants to put his head up, lean on his martingale, and run into it.
That's what martingale's for, to lean on. And it took him a little bit to get the trot organized. The trot was scrambly, but that's what they do. You know, they joggle scrambly, and they canter kind of half-assed, and then they run.
When they run. Yeah.
You know, and the main thing is that you're supposed to run.
And we like running. We like
And they
running
run,
really
they're born
fast.
to run. That's why many of his polo ponies are small thoroughbreds. And the British riding pony was originally a polo pony. Kirsten Bruner up there at Beaverwood and Canna liked their type and bred them in with her Welshes and Cobbs to make hunter ponies. But it turns out the British riding pony doesn't jump very well because its job was polo. So they make beautiful ponies that win on the line and can't jump for beans. Well, they have to jump out of their own way. Not much they don't jump. Got a cute neck too. It's got a nice shape to it. He could, without the muscle in the butt, he could pass for a Midwest bred Morgan.
So you think probably it'd be better to do the canter transitions from the walk? Or
If you can
through the
get it,
trot?
I think from the walk would be better because it will help him better position.
Well, and then he doesn't anticipate
And
so
then,
much.
well, he doesn't get running. The
Yeah.
thing is, if he does it from the trot, he gets running on his forehand. It's like, okay, Jada, stay on that when he finally finds the canter. I would think it would also help him to be on the big circle, the EB circle, so that maybe the walls and the turning will keep him organized. I don't know if he's got the boing to canter or the walk, but if he does, that would be my choice. Yeah, right. And then there's that answer. There you got it. Well, I've seen worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, once he gets it to it.
But you can tell he's looking for his martingale.
Well, yeah.
That when they do this, like remember when Hank was green, he'd pull his nose up and look for his martingale, and then he'd stick his neck sideways and look for his head pole. Yeah, that's something they learn. Good. But he'll let you ride his head down. So don't be afraid to have two reins saying two different things. The inside one can say bend and put your head down, and the outside one can say, here, you can sit on me. Because if you give him a rein to sit on, he may be willing to use that instead of the martingale. But the rhythm is cute, and the speed is very good. He actually does, I can hear him honking, he actually does swing and bounce and swing and bounce. You need to sit back. You need to plop your tailbone in the saddle. There you go, and leave your leg where it is. Very good. Now make sure when you plop your tailbone down, your arms are still free from the shoulder. It's a lot of, take your body back, but don't take your arm back. Let your arm go free. Good. There, you got it. Very nice. Besides, you look at a place like you'll stay there if he does anything dumb. You have to remember you're somebody's mother. We don't want to get you killed. So keep your shoulders back. Let your hip swing at the joint below your waist. There, good boy. That made your canter have more loft. Good boy. The good news is he's been fit. So the canter around and around isn't going to kill him.
No.
Marsha's poor little horse was like, how many times I got to go around this circle? She did it, but she was hot and tired. That's a good boy. So keep the outside rein, a bungee cord, stay connected, but let him know that you can move. Come on, lad. Ah, it's a boy.
I don't know if it's something with the way that this horse is, but every saddle is screwed.
It's him. It's him. He needs his own saddle. Good boy.
And he has a saddle, but it's Christina's, and it's not a
Not where you want to sit. No, it's him because he's got that high shoulder and no wither and a little bit high butt. It keeps trying to prop you up over its head.
They got it. They got it.
no matter what, it just doesn't look like rear.
Yeah, I know. And when you sit nicely and make loose, that sends a saddle forward.
Yeah.
I keep correcting your riding, but it doesn't help. Doesn't help. That's all right, love. Good boy. Careful.
It's the
Careful.
lock the door. So then
But he's really not a bad boy at all.
they figure out.
He does have left lead in mind.
He does.
You can let him canter a little bit, see if he'll make his own change.
So they had to
He maybe not, because they canter so much.
try to find somebody.
Yeah, he says, I can go around and counter canter.
Which they have, and nobody answered.
There you go, you got it, you got it, you got it. Good boy.
Oh, but he thinks he's gonna fall over. I can't do it with my
Good.
Anyway,
pulls his neck out.
Yep. And you need to, a little bit like we were doing with Merrick, remind him that he's got a turn that he really can't go through the wall. Because he's of the impression that maybe he could. Particularly this direction. He's used to some guy leaning off him and swinging a mallet, and that's how he turns. Because the other thing is the neck rein. So our rein aids are a little squirrely.
Did I ever tell you that Merrick was Lancelot's horse's name?
I did not know that. Ah. I wonder who named Merrick that.
Well, I don't know. But,
Jada's-
you remember Robert Taylor?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he was in a movie playing Lancelot, and he filmed
And he
this,
rode Merrick.
and he said, Merrick, Merrick, come here.
You know, he said Merrick was Lancelot, the knight's horse. That was his name. Because I always wondered who named him Merrick. I didn't think Margene did it.
No, he came with that name.
That's what Klaus named him.
Yeah.
Klaus was a German man of letters. He probably knew.
Okay.
no, I bet he did.
Klaus Wiesenthal.
Did he raise him?
Everybody raised him. Margene got him as a 2-year-old.
I didn't know
Margene was always
had him.
fascinated. Klaus Wiesenthal's from somewhere in Illinois, as I recall.
Why, I met him once
Yeah,
because he came.
he's a funny bird. But he is a relatively learned fellow, and he might very well have known that.
Oh, yeah.
Klaus, Margene was fascinated by Klaus and fascinated by his ponies, because he had quality ponies. Yeah, he fell apart. The only problem with his ponies was his wonderful stallion, Bakuba, produces low front, high hind. And Jada's pony is a little bit that way. Paul May from Virginia had a black one and showed it very well. Actually won the national championship with it one year. It was built to downhill. I don't know how he did it.
What did you say, Kathy?
Put your inside shoulder back and your outside shoulder forward before you take off.
Think about haunches in as you ask. Ooh, think about haunches in now. Ask. And he unpositions, right?
Well, yeah,
He runs sideways.
so he
So
flings himself. So
think about push his haunches in. Yeah, he had it actually, and then he didn't. He had it. He made one hop, and he didn't get there. Now he's positioned. Go. You can feel him hop and then quit. So he has your message, but then he can't figure out how to pop into it. Then he goes, you got to be very careful with the reins, because again, he's looking for his martingale. And he gets that high up, and he's actually stopping his hind legs. Come on, bub. You can always put him on a reasonable sized circle and show him where he's going. There we go. Good boy. He's not dying to keep it going.
no, he was gonna like fling himself sideways.
Try him on a big circle. We'll make it kind of apparent that going to the right would be a better idea. Come on a circle. Turn in and make circle. Now ask. Good go. Very good. Very good. Very good. And then see if you can sit back and be cool. Keep him going and easy with your arms. You can tell by the way the front end travels, with the legs going left, that his brain doesn't think in this direction. But he needs a lot of using this direction to reschool the neural muscular pathways. I think they're all born with 2 leads. I don't really know. But come on. Outside rein, but low. Outside rein, low. Good. There you go. That got him more centered over his legs.
He didn't want to hold it.
Well, you watch the front end. He doesn't want to. The front end doesn't want to turn. No. The back end's doing fine, but to bring the shoulders around doesn't occur to him. There you got him. Yep, you can neck rein him, as long as you don't take your rein across the neck, but take it to the neck and turn your shoulders. Ah, better. Good thing you're a good monkey. Better. Keep your shoulders turned and your eyes. Yeah, good boy. Come on. There you go. Yeah, because you know it's interesting. Now you're doing it this way. His front legs aren't getting wider and wider. They're getting closer together. And then he can go in a straight line. His front legs were getting wider and wider and wider. He's like, this tripod isn't working for me. Because the left one flings out. I don't know why, but it does. It's a little bit like you're riding a cement mixer with 3 legs on one side and 1 leg on the other. So just keep your hand low and rotate your shoulders and his. Yeah. So you can do that, and that time he rocked back, because his thought has been to dive, and he rocked back instead. Then he said, all right, you... Yeah, it is hard. Good boy. Give him a little break. Good boy. Walking. It's physically hard for him.
Yeah, and he's really trying, he's just like,
Well, and this is
and it's really hard to,
it's an extra big circle too, because this ring's 80, not 70.
yeah.
So that's why I like the big circle in this ring, because if they can't make it around there, we have a problem. But he was trying. But the interesting thing is, when he travels,
Makes it really hard to keep myself.
his left front leg is built like this. When he travels, it goes out there, out there, out
Yeah.
there. It's like, come back here, leg.
Well, it kind of pulls you out there too.
Yeah, he takes it. He's not so bad on the other one. But that left front really goes strange places. They don't look that crooked, but boy, do they travel.
You probably will be a little sore after this.
It
using
may be a little
muscles that he
uncomfortable.
hasn't used in a while.
We have Butte for that project, or Buteless. I always have a bucket of Buteless around for anybody that has a pain.
Oh, you do?
Anytime I work them hard, I give them Buteless, which is Yucca, Devil's Claw, and yeah, that's why I said Buteless. I'm not fond of Butte because it's so hard in their guts, but mine get Buteless every time they work hard.
Mine also helped with Hank's harassment.
Oh, yeah, Hank bit one side of him.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's not completely atypical.
No, Hank is an ex-stallion. My old ex-stallion lives with only his best friend. They're a SWAT team, but I don't put him with anybody else.
So do you think, work on that more, or just do it until he gets it?
Yeah, I think you did enough, like, for now. But I think you can do a lot of stuff like pole ground, cones weaving and that kind of thing, because he doesn't show a lot of sense of put the body here, catch yourself, put the body here, catch. He's not good on going there with his parts of his body and then writing it. Like you bring him around.
Balancing.
Yeah, you bring him around, he's kind of like, well, that's good, but now what? Yes, here he comes, there. He doesn't know much about push off the outside hind leg to turn, and that's not necessarily quarter horse, because most of them are very good at it. But when he gets out there with the edge of a turn, then he's like, oh, now I'm stuck. You're not sure how to come back. So send him around, and then remind him with your outside leg, not to move over, but just to push back with his outside leg. There we go. So he learns he can step out, he can step around, he can wrap around, and he won't lose his balance, because he thinks he will. And when,
Probably been doing a lot of this with the walk
yeah, because the thing is that what you're doing, you're sending him off balance and letting him catch himself. Sending him off balance, and he needs to go off balance and learn to catch himself, because he's sure he can't. And interesting, he's got a reasonably long hind stride, but I don't see hardly any rock in the, where the pelvis rocks and the inside hip drops down. I don't see that happen much. It's like he's stuck there. And I don't think he's injured. I think it's just he's never been asked to use it.
Right. And Christina, 2 years ago, before she left, she was starting to ask him, she was working with Kathy and starting to get some good stuff, and then.
But there's not a lot of rock. Usually when you change direction, you can see the whole pelvis go wonk in the other direction. And
You can usually feel it, and it feels more like he just grabs with his neck and just.
Yeah, well, and he's really leg moving instead of body moving. Like when you go away from me on a curved line, usually I can see the outside hip up above the inside one because he's rocked his pelvis down. When he goes away from me on a curving line, I can't see his outside hip above his inside one from the side because there isn't enough change. He doesn't drop the inside one a lot. And when you don't drop, I can just barely see the top of his outside hip. And normally, like when you ride Jedi, half his butt sticks up on the other side.
Right.
This one doesn't have that rock in the pelvis. And I don't know as it comes with every quarter horse, but I think they can be taught to do it. There you got it. The other thing that's interesting is when you change direction and you do get his pelvis to rock a little, the tail doesn't go with it. When they're changing direction and they're rocking their pelvis with the new inside leg coming down, the tail should flop to the inside. He's getting a little pelvic range of motion, but the tail doesn't change. I was going around schooling old Worthy in the dark one night, thinking, what is that strange noise? I kept hearing this little pop, pop, pop. I had a flashlight with me, so I turned it on. It was black, and I'm driving in the dark. I turned it on. It was his tail. And I could see it going, and it made a little, because he's old, he's arthritic, it would go click, 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 every time, and it was changing absolutely perfectly in rhythm with his butt changing. But I didn't know what I was hearing. And his tail would snap all the way to the other side, both directions, click, click. There you got a better turn, eh?
Yeah.
Way more flexible. And you notice what it's doing to his head.
I really have to overemphasize. my
You do have to overemphasize your own shoulder. Your body's got to be really loose and really mobile because you're not riding the big brown wind-up toy who answers every breath you think. This one you have to exaggerate your request because then he'll move. So when you want to change, leg up at the armpit, rotate your shoulder. There, good, good. And much more activity in his butt. Even the tail has a hint of going to the right. It's getting there. It didn't, see the tail move? It very slightly went over, over, over. So the motion is beginning to come all the way back to the back of his butt. But one of the things, the quarter horses, because they're built with a sloping croup, and in the quarter horse business, they don't want expression from the tail. They want it to hang plop. And so they don't breed good tail to good tails. They get dinged for moving their tails. So now we're saying use your body and move your tail. He comes from a long line of things that don't move its tail. But it's there. You can awaken it. We can take the acupuncture needles and wake it up. There we go. Very good. And look at how much better stride you got. Yeah, it's getting better and better. The nice thing about doing it the walk is it doesn't worry him about his balance. But even then, he gave you a real bendy turn in the shoulder, but the butt didn't finish the turn. It was like we were doing with Merrick this morning when we made the butt come around and join the shoulders. He brought the shoulders around very loose and nice, and then the rear end said, no, I'm making my own route. So he needs to swing.
So should I
So it's bend,
slide
turn,
my leg back and
a little
tap the
bit,
foot
a
over
little
this
bit. Try bend, turn, and yield the butt. Like a little, really interesting. It gets stuck. Like I was going to say, try a turn on the forehand in motion, and right about then the butt stopped. So push his butt out as much as you bring the shoulder in. Push the butt out. Push there, better. But you can see it doesn't want to go there. So bring him off the track a bit. Let's get him out in the open. He always is worried. That was good, huh? You bring him off the track as an outside leg yield and you got something. So let him get on the flat over here. We'll do it again. That was much better. Much better. It's fascinating because there's nothing much wrong with him. Just now bring him off the rail with your outside leg. Right leg under, more under, more under. Hold him with the left rein. There. Oh, he doesn't know that move, does he? There you go. You got it. Very good. Very good. All the things he had to rearrange just then.
Just very, very, he has to think about everything he's
Well,
moving.
and he knew every time he made the correct move, he was going to wreck. But that was a wonderful thing. In a few minutes, I'm going to put him on the leg yield head to the wall. Ooh, not quicker, not quicker. Ooh. Make sure it's in, soften. Your aid. Get in, come out. Get in. The butt's not moving, is it? You can tap. There we go. That sucker's stuck. And it's not physically stuck.
Right.
He's mentally stuck.
Okay.
He's not in trouble. He doesn't need the chiropractor yet, or it wouldn't hurt. But he doesn't get bend, turn, and yield. Now yield his butt out. Out. Butt further out than his body. Butt out. Butt out. Yay, good boy. Good boy. He got it. Very good. And he also got step out with the outside hind leg, which he never knew existed. Yeah. Good boy. There we go. He says, oh my God, I never spread my hind legs that far. That was super. He's got a whole range of motion he didn't know he had, which is why time walking is never wasted.
No. And I think it kind of mentally slows him down a little bit, so he thinks about what he's doing rather
Well,
than
and when he goes to wreck, he's not going to wreck quite as badly as he thinks he is. If he had to do this at speed, he'd be like, oh no, I ain't making that move.
Well, and let's say, they get that gear where they're thinking they're going to wreck.
Well, and to do the job he did, you're best off being a broom handle.
They go into
So now you've got a place you can yield his butt out, butt out, butt out, butt out. There. His butt actually got further out than his front end. So that's what the corner is for. You can yield his butt out here. Butt out. Ooh, not quicker. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, so you have to stop the forward to get the yield. But that's what I'm talking about, bend, turn, and then yield the rear end. Don't let it go quicker. Yield the rear end. You can tap gently behind your foot. There, good boy. Because he needs the tap to trigger that motion. He's like, hey man, that's not in my cards. Easier this direction for him. That was very good. So remember that when you're schooling, work the left first. Get him thinking about it. You can do it in the corners, there you go. And then you can go to the right. So the left seems to be easier for him.
Everything that way seems easier for him.
Yep. This is a good walk now.
Yes, it is.
Quality, eh? Move the butt. That's a good boy. Yeah. When his legs go sideways, they learn to come forward. So I don't think he's handicapped.
He just has to learn how to operate.
He just has to learn to use the goods he's got. So start with asking the hind leg to come under. Good boy. He actually stepped past himself, didn't he? Which for him is a horrifying experience. And then his head stays down. Well, guess what the horse you did first this morning had the same reaction. Well, Merrick, you said, you got to take your butt out there. He said, well, then I got to put my head down. We said, yeah, thank you. That's what we were looking for. It's how you get, people say to me, how come everything you drive goes round? I said, because I disarray them till round seems like the best answer. There's a big difference now in the amount of hip level, too. Oh, no. Good boy. Got a lot of power. Yeah, he's sort of like, well, yeah, well, what if it gets away from me? Well, put your leg out and catch yourself. Good boy. Very nice. And his tail came to the left. So he got beginning to get the tail loose. It's pretty hard to see a black tail and a black butt in dingy lighting, but
Yeah, it is.
it's there. He is black as Benny's boot.
Now, is the girl who owns him going to be able to do this?
The girl that owns him will have to learn it,
I mean, with
but
help?
but she can learn it with him. And the thing is, if Jada can get the buttons there,
Activate it
and then
to
make
start
him
with.
comfortable, because he's doing a fabulous job with that inside hind, then he'll be able to teach it to her.
I really gotta remember my shoulders.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, these horses are ridden by a person always sitting like this, always with the shoulders cocked to the right. So that they're amazing that we could, the first couple Wilson got for training, he said, all right, how am I going to unkink this poor thing? I said, well, you either get on it or give it to one of the girls and get it unkinked that way. Because in the long lines, it was like, you can't make a straight line.
Other polo horses?
Polo, because they're ridden with somebody leaning off the right, swinging a mallet. And so they have this imbalanced body on them all the time. And half the polo players don't know how to ride anyway. I mean, they literally didn't start knowing how to ride. And so they have a lot of counterproductive human body on them. And they build resistances to hold themselves together. Good
He
boy.
has another lesson too, so.
He does?
Yeah.
Who else is riding him?
Well, Laura was supposed to, but.
Who was?
I was gonna ride him once,
Laura.
and Laura was gonna ride him once.
She's in the
Oh,
Or I was gonna ride him and then Laura was gonna ride him,
so you're going to ride him twice?
yeah.
All right, well, we can keep track of time and make sure, oh, he's done well, it's 5 or 2.
Yeah.
I want to get to the head to the wall leg yields with him eventually. But this
Well,
has made
that's what I
a,
was saying, if we ride him again tomorrow.
Yeah.
do that.
Laura, you're going to ride him twice today?
No,
No. No, he-
wouldn't do
and he-
that to myself.
no, and he's getting much better. He started out with his hind legs very apart, and he's gotten so he's bringing his hind legs together. Because one of the base points of our dressage training is teaching the horse to bring its hind legs together, because by nature it's a flying wedge, or they're wider in back and narrow in front. And so